Switchblade to jet mode. Surprise, Matt Tracker. It's mayhem. Battle station. Protect the decoder, Bruce. I'm going up. Stacks ready to fire.
M.A.S.K, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino.
Fire!
Each sold separately with action figure.
Cover me, Matt. 10-4. Sato's getting away, but you're not, Mayhem.
M.A.S.K, Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and Rhino. Each sold separately. New from Gator.
So this is the new Hurricane. Hoo-wee. Glad it's on our side, Hondo.
Tracker here. Assemble masks. Intruder closing in.
It's the Venom Stinger. Look out. Hurricane engage.
Vehicles each sold separately with a figure.
Firefly heading for the sky.
M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
I'm getting out of here.
M.A.S.K, Hurricane, Firefly, and Stinger. Each sold separately. New from Gator.
An incredible secret is revealed when innocent-looking vehicles and ordinary men become an awesome fighting team. It's the secret of M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon. Piranha's getting away with the laser blueprints.
Stop them.
Condors,
Ready for takeoff.
M.A.S.K vehicles in place and each sold separately with action figures.
I'll let him off at the river.
But Gator's ready, and he never gives up.
Surprise, you're through.
M.A.S.K, where illusion is the ultimate weapon.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday night. It is time to rank, rate, judge toys, because what else are we going to do as grown adults but to judge the toys of today and of yesterday? I am your host, Jay Tracker, and this is my best secret agent outfit that I could come up with as kind of secret agent-ish, kind of not. I have two others that I'm going to bring on with top secret names as well. But before we get to that, let's get in the mood for one of the greatest 80s. That is so awesome. By far, and I stand behind this, my favorite cartoon intro and my favorite cartoon song of all time, not including anything from Transformers the movie. That's a different beast. We have a couple of agents. This is my agent voice. I have a fellow Canadian who's stationed approximately 8.5 hours from me. Let's bring in Neil Turner. What is up, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Hey, look at all your mask dollies. Yeah, that's so awesome.
This is all this is the whole collection right here. This is it. This is all I got. But I had a lot more as a kid, but these are the survivors, and this is Brad Turner here. So if anyone doesn't get the geeky reference there, it's this is Brad Turner right here.
Really cool. You have Raven there. That's actually one I never had. I can't remember the pilot, the driver.
Calhoun Burns.
Yes, I have two of him for some weird reason. I did a lot of, like, in the early 2000s, M.A.S.K eBay lots, which were just random figures, masks, and parts for vehicles. So I have a lot of, like, weird things that aren't complete. And I got two of him for some reason, but Raven is a cool one. How you doing this Saturday night, my friend?
I'm doing well. Doing all right. I just moved to the greater Ottawa area, so as you said, about 8 hours away, and that's it's pretty interesting changes, big life changes. I got to go through all the inventory of all my figures and all my stuff, right? And that's always a pain. So, but it's been all right,
Thank you for dropping everything and calling or hearing the call of the M.A.S.K siren, dropping everything and jumping on here. Well, I thought Chad was an agent of M.A.S.K, but appears he might be on the other side. Let's bring in Articulated Mayhem. What a name. Oh no.
Yeah, buddy.
So
sorry. I thought we were all doing secret agent stuff.
we are, but you're supposed to be on the M.A.S.K team, Mr. Mayhem. But hey, that's okay. We'll allow it.
Miles Mayhem.
I can see you got Miles there. What's going on, everyone in the chat? Happy Saturday night. Cheers to you from parts unknown. Rob, how you doing, my friend? Lisa, what's up, darling? Good to see you. Ryan, happy Saturday. Ryan has never missed a stream, I don't think, that I've ever done or that Rob and I have ever done, and he's just the best dude ever. He says, "Hey Neil, Brad Turner is the best. You can't argue with that. Brad is.
Sir.
He's got. I don't know, man. We'll get into that. Toy Connections. What's up, my man? How are you? Happy Saturday, Jeff. Good to see you, man. We were speaking earlier today. And Ryan says, Chad, great to
What's
see
up,
you
Ryan?
again. So we are here to do our weekly judging of the toys. I'm just kidding. It's not judging. It's just a fun little ranking system we have where we go A, B, C, or D. A being the greatest, almost perfect toy. And we explain why. And then all the way down to D, which is just a dumpster fire of garbage. So with M.A.S.K, I don't know. What do you guys think? I kind of thought it would be great just to judge, rank the figures. But I believe M.A.S.K is one of those lines that you need the vehicle with it. So I think we should rate each one on the figure, the mask, and the vehicle and come up with an overall score for each one. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
It's appropriate. Very
That
appropriate
sounds
for
good
M.A.S.K.
over here. All right. Always liked Vampire, my first M.A.S.K toy. Vampire may or may not be on this list, but I have my thoughts on that one as well. What's up, Oliver? Okay, let's get her going here. So this one here, not my actual one, but my first M.A.S.K toy was Piranha. I remember getting this one. Geez, I think what M.A.S.K was 85, grade 5. I got this guy. And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even know that this character was a villain. I didn't know anything about the story. I don't believe at this time I'd seen the cartoon. I can't remember, to be honest. But Piranha was my very first M.A.S.K toy. And for that, I have a very, very soft spot in my heart for this one. It might not be, this is just my opinion. It might not be the best. Slyrax might not be the best character either. I love the Christian Slater voice that he has in the cartoon. It's like a Christian Slater mixed with like Jack Nicholson kind of like accent.
Yeah, sounds like this.
Yeah.
Well, Christian Slater always said that he did a really bad Jack Nicholson ripoff all the time.
Yeah.
What is his normal speaking voice? And that's an odd way. It's like, you know what? For the rest of my life, I'm going to try and talk like Jack Nicholson. That's just such an odd choice for someone to say. But I believe he sounds like it. He talks like this, right? He's got that weird like S thing going on.
Yeah, it's like Shipwreck on G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe.
Exactly. So thoughts. Let's start off with my man Neil. Your thoughts on Piranha, Slyrax. And Slyrax, of course, his mask is stiletto, which shoots darts, energized darts, which is a pretty badass power for a mask if you really think about it. What are your thoughts on Piranha?
I liked it. Obviously I had it as a kid. I don't have it anymore. I just have the figure now. But yeah, I mean, the Piranha was pretty cool. Being a motorcycle with the sidecar turns into this little kind of underwater sub thing, which is pretty cool. I will say the reason I don't have it anymore is because it, broke and after usage. And the spring mechanism inside, will not, like a lot of these toys, they're not going to last forever, unfortunately, after so many uses. So I found it to be kind of delicate too, even more delicate than the average masked toy. Like these ones are pretty solid, the ones in front of me, but the Piranha was one of the more delicate ones, I thought. I dig it. I mean, are we giving it like an A, B, C, or D, or?
Well, we'll do that. We'll save it for the end.
Okay.
Because we're gonna go through another picture of everything unboxed. Again, I love the Kenner artwork. The original painting here, it's just beautiful. I absolutely love everything about the mask. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be totally transparent with everyone in chat. It's gonna be real hard for me to give bad scores to, frankly, any of these because I think it's still to this day one of the greatest toy lines of all time. The engineering behind these vehicles and the love and craft behind everything is just crazy. So with all that out of the way, I'm just warning everybody. Chad, let's turn it over to you and your thoughts on Piranha.
Piranha was probably the third or fourth mask toy that I had as a kid. Always loved it. I do like the whole sidecar submarine thing, but Neil he's accurate that the mechanism likes to degrade over time. That sidecar windshield doesn't like to close a lot. And if you don't seat it back in there properly, you're going to hear some things start crunching. But it's a really rad vehicle. It is kind of kid gloves for the play gimmicks. I always like Slyrax as a character. He is that Christian Slater, Jack Nicholson kind of, yeah, well, almost like Shipwreck.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I always liked his mask. I thought that Stiletto was a really good offensive power, where you see a lot of masks have kind of passive powers. I really like Stiletto.
The hero ones do for sure. They're more defensive or plot devices kind of thing, especially Matt Tracker's Mask for Thunderhawk. But anyway, this is one of the ones. As much as I love it, this is almost like a futuristic vehicle where I would say most of the M.A.S.K vehicles are based around real world 80s cars, bikes, that kind of thing. But this one, especially the sidecar, like you're not fooling anybody with this. Do you know what I mean? Look at the sidecar. It looks like it's from, the future. Like this is not hiding the fact that you're a Venom agent too well.
Yeah, it looks like one of those things from the Running Man that they put them in and they send them off into the game show kind of thing. It's like one of those little odd things.
Yeah.
Shoot
them into the game zone.
Slyrax again, a special place in my heart, but I have to be careful and not let pure nostalgia override. Otherwise, they will all get A's. So, taking into consideration, let's take a look at the figure. I mean, he's your typical bad guy thug. This is 80s thug as it gets. You can see you got the chains. You have, it's either punk rock medals or grenades he has on his leather jacket there. He's got the gloves. He's got the sunglasses. This is pure 80s thuggery. I just made that word up. Yeah, no?
Biker look.
Yeah. He's got a soul patch. So.
He does. He has a soul patch, which is a really, really interesting. Okay, so I'm going to take into consideration the figure, and let's be honest. The M.A.S.K figures aren't some of the best of the 80s. I love them. I like the smaller size. I don't know how you guys felt about the smaller size on them. I thought it was cool. M.A.S.K was always kind of separate anyway with my friends and I in our playtime. We never mixed it. I just thought the world of M.A.S.K was so cool on its own. It was one of the rare toy lines that we just played M.A.S.K. Whereas when we did G.I. Joe, Star Wars, we would always mix all that stuff up, but M.A.S.K was always on its own. So hey, you know what? I don't mind at all the size of them. So that long-winded speech out of the way, Piranha the vehicle with Slyrax and the Stiletto M.A.S.K, I'm going to give a C.
Ooh.
I'm going to give it a C. Again, I love Mom. She bought me my first M.A.S.K toy. She bought me all my M.A.S.K toys, let's be honest. But this was the first one. But the ones that came later in my collection, both as a kid and as adult, I think are far superior to this one. But I don't think it's the worst of the M.A.S.K vehicles. Neil, let's hear your explanation and your grade, my friend.
Well, I'm actually right there with you. I dig the figure more than the vehicle myself because, like I said about the wear and tear on the vehicle, it tends to happen kind of sooner than later with this one. Just like a few other ones like the jackhammer and any kind of spring-loaded mechanisms, those springs, they bend and break over time. So because of that, and because it is, kind of flimsy, it's still cool looking, but it is kind of flimsy. Figure's good, but I'm going to just straight up go ahead and agree with you 100%. I'm going to give it a C.
Neil gives it a C. Excellent. Okay, Chad, it's up to you. Don't succumb to peer pressure, and I know you don't.
No, I don't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some mechanisms in the play gimmick that are a little iffy. We discussed that at length.
But let me just throw it out there. And I'm being a little bit of Rob here, but I'm just saying a lot of the M.A.S.K toys, if not all of them, have something that if you mess with it too much, it's done. Especially this bad boy here, Boulder Hill. You just don't even want to touch it. You transform it and you just leave it there because it's going to just collapse. So I think they all
some
have
of the later
stuff
stuff
like that.
too.
But this one,
toys,
this one, you're correct. In if the sidecar spring is broken, the vehicle is gone because the sidecar won't attach to it anymore. It won't lock in place. So that is a flaw.
I'm giving it a B.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'm giving it a
Johnny
B.
Reb.
I love this vehicle. I love it.
Oh, that's amazing! Really.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I love the Piranha.
That's great. And this was obviously designed. We've got Jeff says up here. Gator was his first, and this was designed obviously to fight Dusty and Gator. And that's what's so great about the first line is that it's almost vehicle for vehicle. There's a hero and then a counter villain for it, for the most part. Rob gave it a C. Okay, let's move on here. That was a good first introduction. I think we're nice and warmed up. Let's get to a little more of the heavy hitters here. Speak of the devil, these were all picked at random. Mostly ones I could find great images of. The Gator with Dusty Hayes, and Dusty Hayes, of course, has the Backlash mask. They're more like helmets. I guess we'll call them masks. But okay, so Gator I got later down the line. I believe after Wave 2 was released. I still didn't have Gator. And at that time when I was a kid, I wasn't a completionist because this was not my money. This was my mom's money. So obviously I was at the mercy of her. And if you guys remember, I mean, these mask toys now are worth a fortune. Even back then, they were like Lego. They were so expensive. I remember Brad Turner and Piranha and some of the smaller units. I don't have an exact price, but I remember they were astronomical. And to get something like Boulder Hill was just, at the time, it's like, forget it. Would have been like almost $100 or something. Gator's great. I love Dusty. I think he's a fantastic character in the cartoon. Backlash is okay. It's an okay power for the mask. I do like the design of Dusty's mask, especially the first version of the toy. If you look in the top right, you can see the little picture of him there. And there's not the neck piece that they added later because they thought that the little masks would be choking hazards for us kids. So they elongated the masks, which I don't mind so much, but definitely the first printing of the masks are great. Neil, why don't you take us through your thoughts on Gator?
Well, I never had it as a kid, but I had, the kid across the street kind of had it, right? And so my experience with it is just based on that, just like checking it out a few times that way.
Yeah.
I dig it. I love it. I love the idea of like a Jeep, and then all of a sudden this little sled kind of thing, this water vehicle jumps out of it. So you can continue the pursuit on water or whatnot if Venom goes on water. So I think it's very kind of similar to the Piranha in that respect. I mean, we have like a fairly small vehicle that ejects a little floating pod that can go into the water. Although in the Piranha's case, I guess it can go underwater, whereas this one, I guess, can only go on top of the water, I think. But yeah, I mean, Dusty Hayes is a really cool figure too. Great little, Southern Texas character, I guess. So yeah, overall, I do like the Gator. I just don't have any nostalgic, warm, fuzzy kind of memories for it because I never had it. So, but it's a cool toy. I like it.
This was one I really enjoyed because it looked like an actual Jeep. I think the only thing that stuck out was the stun cannon or whatever the cannon was on the back, but they kind of fold it backwards. So it looks like a roll bar or something for a Jeep. But excuse me, this vehicle is so solid. And I love the 80s colors on the hood of the Jeep. Just those light difference. It's so amazing. And there's Dusty's helmet there we're talking about without the elongated neck piece. So this is the original printing of the figure. And the depth charge, which was vac metallized chrome, which was beautiful as well. Black Arrow, I hope I pronounced that right. Cartoons, wish the boat could float. I was always paranoid, my friend, about putting any kind of toys with stickers in the water, so I rarely did it. So I'll take your word for it. But yeah, I think it's just a flimsy piece of plastic, right? Mr. Mayhem, I know he's a mask agent, but what do you think about Dusty here?
Yeah, Dusty's cool. I love Gator. Just the CJ7, the whole Jeep CJ7. Anytime I see like an orange, kind of a Mopar
Thank you.
competition orange.
Thank you. I'm glad we sorry to interrupt, but I'm glad we have a car guy on the panel. I know nothing about cars, so please feel free to tell me exactly what these are.
Well, I'm a Jeep guy too, so just
Sure.
to see like the Jeep CJ7 in that Mopar kind of competition orange. Anytime I see one, I'm like, oh look, there's a Gator, and it's driving around, which is kind of rare. But every time I have seen one, I do think of the Gator.
Nice.
That depth charge always kind of came across to me like it was a beer keg too. Like, oh, it's in disguise, right? They're going partying at the lake. No, it's a depth charge, not a beer keg. But the
never thought of
mechanism
that.
on this,
That
yeah.
could work, man. That could work
Yeah.
because Dusty's like, I don't want to say he's a party guy, but I mean he could definitely
He's
get
the
away
dude
with-
though.
Yeah.
Dusty's the dude.
He's got a beer keg depth charge. Yeah, that's pretty it's pretty sweet. Yeah, this one's pretty cool. I guess the only knock I would have, let's go back one here. Once the boat is extracted from the Jeep, your Jeep kind of just sits there. I always would pretend sometimes that Gator, when Dusty was in the boat, floating around and stuff, that he could remote control the Jeep still. There would be some kind of turret or it'd be some kind of, thing that he could control like an outpost. I don't think that was the case. I think it just stood there and got blown up by Venom. But hey, that's what I used to do. I'm not going to go first on this one. Chad, you take it away. Let's take into consideration the figure, the colors of the figure, the backlash, not only the backlash weapon and the design of the helmet itself, and Gator overall. Let's get your overall score with all those things to consider. I know it's a lot.
It's definitely my favorite version of Dusty. I'm giving it a B. If I gave
B, okay.
Yeah, I gave Slyrax and his ride a B. I'm gonna give it a B.
So the two water
guys
get a B. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's great. You know what? I want to say one thing about going back to Slyrax. I do love in the cartoon how he'd be driving his bike and then he would jump into the sidecar. I mean, I forgot to mention that. That's badass, man. And then he would shoot like into the water and stuff. Okay, Chad gives it a B. Neil, what do you think?
Yeah, I dig it. I'm going to give it a B as well. Even though like I said, I never had it, so I don't have that nostalgic feeling for it. But it is cool. I do think that the idea of vehicles that turn into completely different kinds of vehicles, like a complete opposite in this case, is always a cool, not an opposite necessarily, but just a different vehicle, altogether, is really cool. A lot of the M.A.S.K toys, some of them turned like cars that turned into like just weaponized cars, right? But in this case, we have a Jeep that ejects like a little pod. And although I do say that, I guess it is disappointing that apparently it doesn't float. That's too bad. But I do love the figure. I love the colors, love the design. So yeah, definitely a B for me.
So Jeff says most of our toys were choking hazards. That was the 80s. Yep. Yeah, you're right, and it was an age of caution, absolutely. And there was just something cool about that. It's like, don't be an idiot. Don't put that in your mouth, kind of thing. And I knew, I don't want to say I had friends, but I knew kids, on the block and stuff that would chew on their toys. They would chew on Star Wars guns a lot because you could, like, if you chew on a G.I. Joe gun, you're gonna break your teeth. But if you chew on a Star Wars Kenner gun, you're going to leave imprints on it. So I knew kids used to chew on stuff like that. So don't put stuff in your mouth. Rob, our good buddy Destro Rob, gives it a B. And I always got to comment on his picture because that's so cool that he put himself as Destro.
Yeah.
Nice. Jeff gives it a solid B as well. That's good. Oh my goodness. Look who is in the chat. We actually have Matt Tracker. Yeah, what is up, my friend? If you guys haven't been to matttracker.com or checked out the YouTube page, it is absolutely incredible. The ultimate M.A.S.K fan page for sure. B minus. So we're getting into minuses here. That's okay. B for Ryan as well, which is not bad. What's he saying? Just A, B, C, or D. Man, yeah, whatever you want. Yes, Matt Tracker himself is in the chat. I'm gonna have to change my name to another agent, I guess. That's okay. So I'm gonna give Gator. Oh gosh, I gotta give it a B. and I wanted to go see, but I think Dusty, the thing that saves me is the character of Dusty in the cartoon, to be completely honest. The vehicle's okay. Backlash is okay, but I really love his personality. What's going on, brother? Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. All right, moving on. Vampire. So someone earlier in the chat said that this was their favorite vehicle and possibly Floyd would be their favorite driver. I'm just going to start off by saying Floyd Malley is by far my favorite Venom agent, hands down. I think he's the coolest looking of all the Venom agents. That's how I'm going to start this off. That being said, I think Vampire is kind of a husk of crap. It's okay. Ooh. It's okay. Maybe I'm a little too harsh. The motorcycle form, it's a little futuristic for me if you're trying to disguise. I mean, I don't know, Chad. Is this a real bike? Is this based off a real bike at all? I don't believe it is.
Yeah, I mean it looks to me like it's loosely based on like maybe a BMW touring bike. But I don't know. Maybe Matt Tracker can chime in. But.
Yeah, Mr. Tracker, chime in. Is this from a real world bike, or is this? I mean, I guess you could see where the wings fold out here. I guess that could be like, where the saddlebags go or the luggage compartment. I don't know, but it was always really silly to me. I like Vampire when it transforms. It's cool because it's like a jet, and him and Brad would have some great fights. But the bike form is what really kills it for me. But Floyd, man, like just look at him. He's so wicked. He's like a punk rock dude. He looks like Billy Idol. His mask is so badass that the top is cut out, so his spiked punk rock hair can come out of the top. I mean, that is badass. Neil, your thoughts on Vampire?
Well,
you got to say it like this, Vampire, like that, like your best movie trailer voice.
Yeah, you're right about him looking like Billy Idol.
He does.
Yeah, he's a great figure. I agree. I mean, I've had this since I was a kid. It was obviously, one of the cheaper ones, right? I mean, out of the M.A.S.K toys, it was one of the smaller ones, and therefore it didn't cost as much as some of the bigger vehicles. So that was right up parents' alley. A lot of kids' parents could afford it. So a lot of kids, I think, had this thing. The thing is that the mechanisms and whatnot on it, they worked pretty good. Like this one still works. This is from 1985 or 6 or whatever, but it still works fine. The rockets that go in the back here, they don't really like shoot out or fire out or anything, which is a little disappointing, but also a little understanding since we were just talking about choking hazards,
Right. Yeah.
Watch out for that. As a vehicle, I agree with you, Jay. Not to rip you off here, but I'm gonna have pretty much the exact same opinion.
Sure.
Because the bike itself is just a little too kind of bulky and it's not great the way they did. Oh, there we go. So this little gun in front is kind of cool. I do like the alternate mode, the weaponized mode of this vehicle, which turns into this rocket sled, this fantasy vehicle. It's not a real thing, of course. But yeah, it really is, again, just more about the figure for me. Oh, this thing's falling apart.
You're playing too hard, buddy. You're playing too hard.
Who knew? But it's not my table. Anyway, I dig it. You want me to give it a grade or not yet?
We'll save it for the end. Yeah.
Okay.
That's your thoughts. Great. And
okay.
Again, I want to thank Matt Tracker again for showing up in the chat. I'm not going to out his identity. If he wants to name himself, he can. But after this stream, guys, in all seriousness, check out Matt Tracker on YouTube. It's just the most comprehensive person I know. It just has the greatest M.A.S.K knowledge of all time. And he was on the show, the Jay and Rob Toy Show with Rob and I, and he's just a great guy to talk to. So check him out if you want to know anything about M.A.S.K. He knows far more than I will ever. Vampire is cool. I agree. He is very cool. Rob says saddlebags on a crotch rocket. Not a fan. Sorry, I'm late. Trent, what's up, my brother? Thanks for showing up. A touring bike style. Yeah, that's what it's called. See, I don't know anything about cars or bikes. Clearly, I'm calling it saddlebags. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about here. But it looks like one of those, you got the cool dudes with the Harleys, right? And then you got I call them like the older man, because I guess I'm an old man now. The older man style, where it's basically the motorcycle is a car without doors, and they got all this luggage, and you can kind of sit back on it. That's what this kind of reminds me of. Which I think a character like Floyd should have maybe. Harley? I don't know. What's up, Whitney? Thanks for tuning in. Chad, take it away. Billy Idol here. What are your thoughts? Vampire.
Well, yeah, it's not kind of one for one like the Gator and the CJ7, but it is pretty much in line with one of those BMW touring bikes. You're talking like the Goldwing. That's what you're talking about, that big Honda Goldwing bike.
Thank you, my
like
friend. Thank
AM,
you.
FM radio on them and stuff. TVs. They have TVs on them. Yeah, those are ridiculous.
It's like
Kind of like one of those big bikes on chips.
To turn the bike, you don't even have to lean. You just you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It just turns itself. You're like, doo-doo-doo. I dig Vampire. I like the fact that it has that one button transformation. Yeah, you got to fold the wings down and the rockets are kind of friction fired, but it's still a cool little, it's like one of those middle to lower price point vehicles. I love it. I really love it.
It was in the Piranha League, the Condor League, definitely. It was the entry level M.A.S.K stuff. And what Kenner did that was so great was they still put the love and quality to each. It didn't matter the size of it. You could have Rhino or you could have Vampire here, and they still put as much effort into each of these as they possibly could. Vickman, thanks for showing up. Yes, Billy Idol. Yeah, White Wooding. Ryan says B. Anyone in chat actually? Bill, oops, I think I gave away his identity. I mean, Matt Tracker, what is the M.A.S.K ability of Floyd here? Does anyone remember? Isn't it ball bearings or something like that? I forgot to write that one down. Anyone who knows in chat, or if you guys know, throw it out there. Yeah, I forgot to write it down. I think it's like ball bearings, or he shoots some kind of projectile. Regardless, I'm going to give Vampire an A. Solely based on Floyd Malley, because he's my favorite Venom agent, villain, whatever you want to call him. I think he's the perfect villain, both with his mask on and off. Aesthetically, he works perfect. I love the black, red, and silver. And his mask, I think, might be my favorite next to the Rhino Tracker mask. I'm giving it an A solely on the figure. Neil.
Well, I'm going to give it a B because I mean, I might give it a C, honestly, just for the vehicle, but I do love the figure, so I'm with you on that.
Remember, we're averaging the mask, the figure, and the vehicle all kind of as one. So just kind of take an average of what you think, all three of those components.
Yeah, exactly. So I would pull it together as a B, because I like it, and I do have the warm and fuzzy nostalgia. I mean, this is my original right here, and it's still in good shape. I mean, it didn't break like many other M.A.S.K toys did over the years. So I'll give it some points for durability as well. It's a nice design. I like the red and everything, and obviously red and black is very badass, and good for Venom and stuff. I dig him, and I do like the Billy Idol, Floyd Malloy, in the midnight hour.
He's even doing the Billy Idol snarl or sneer or whatever you want to call that. Like, he's even doing that. So Bill, I've given away his identity. The cat's out of the bag. Bill says buckshot, correct on the mask power. So it's like ball bearings. Yeah, it's called buckshot. Thanks, dude. So yeah, there you go. I mean, that's awesome. It's kind of like a shotgun kind of.
Who would know better than the leader of M.A.S.K, of course.
Absolutely, he knows all the bad guys. B plus, Oliver. Jeff gives it a C. A for the figure, B overall. Okay, so B overall. Okay, awesome.
Me too.
And Chad, this is your time.
I like how he kind of had to smack on totem there for a second, but I'm going to give this a B. I'm giving it a B as a overarching kind of grade. I really like the vehicle. I love the character. I love the mask, the hair sticking out of the top of it. Only one Venom combo is getting my A. So he's getting a B.
One Venom combo. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, we're moving on. Vickman gives him a B. So I'm the only idiot who gave it a perfect score based on nothing to do with the actual vehicle at all.
Billy
But
Idol.
that's okay. It's I like Billy Idol. I like punk rock. I mean,
Hell yeah.
that's there you go. Moving on. So this was the first entry for Hondo McLean. Of course, he had Hurricane right after this. I gotta say, as cool as Hurricane was, and what kind of car was Hurricane, Chad? It's a Chev or something?
It's a 57 Chevy.
Yeah.
Is it 57 or 56?
Oh, I don't know.
It's all based on the post with 56 versus 57. It's all on that post. Where's the post? So
it had the
I'll get back to you on
flames.
that.
It had the flames, and it kind of turned into like a tank almost. It was like kind of like a tank. I guess kind of like this one. I think Firecracker is far superior, which is too bad because this vehicle gets destroyed really early on in the show and it's gone. That's why Hondo gets Hurricane, right? But I much prefer Firecracker. I'm a sucker for vehicles within vehicles, which is one reason I like Battle Force 2000 from G.I. Joe. However, we'll pretend I didn't say that. The motorcycle on the back of this pickup truck is the reason I love this vehicle so much. I think it's like the coolest thing ever. Even on the artwork here, Hondo is on the motorbike. He's not even like his vehicle is like on autopilot, just shooting up Venom like there's no tomorrow. And he's like, see, I'm going to go get the digital plans or whatever he's going to get. I mean, this vehicle is just kick ass. Hondo is such a wicked character too. Where are we here? Firecracker. Of course, he has Blaster. He's Cyclops. Cyclops from X-Men. The exact same power, and offensive power, which is great to see a mask agent have something that can, burn a hole through. I don't know, Chad. What are your thoughts on Firecracker here before we get too deep into it?
I love Firecracker. I love the whole vehicle in a vehicle with another vehicle kind of stuck on the back. I really love the spare tire, the way that it ejects as the offensive weapon with the blades on it, like you see there. The blaster mask is awesome. The short version is a lot cooler than the long version. Short version is what's seen on the screen here.
Yeah, and Bill says short mask will run you 100 or so. Absolutely. All the short masks were first prints and rare, but this one especially. I mean, I never had Hondo with the short blaster mask, so I can imagine as a kid you would lose that thing because it's so like look at it. It's a visor. It is like Cyclops, right? It's just a visor that kind of sits on his head. It doesn't cover his whole face. So
it's like those jeweler headsets that jewelers wear, and they kind of pull them down, and they're all bug-eyed. No, it's a great vehicle. I love how the guns pop through the grill like that. It's just rad. I really like it. And it's not one of those flimsy transforming gimmicks either. Like when it pops, like it's got some meat to it.
Oh, it's great, absolutely. And the tire, the tire that has the spikes coming out of it or the blades. Trent says, I don't really know much about M.A.S.K, but so far I'm loving the look of these figures and vehicles. Very cool. My friend, you can watch, I believe, most of the cartoons on YouTube for free. There's an app called Tubi. I'm pretty sure M.A.S.K is on that. You can find it if you look for it. The cartoon and M.A.S.K as a whole, I can sum up as G.I. Joe meets Transformers with Indiana Jones and James Bond all kind of mixed together. You got just this really great secret agent story. And every episode, Venom, who is the equivalent of Cobra, the bad guys, they're going after some kind of ancient artifact a la Indiana Jones. It's really great. It's just a great show. I mean, it's silly at times, sure, but I mean, it was a kid's show. But I think it holds up pretty good. And of course, like we said at the beginning, the theme song is just insane. I just want to play it again, but I won't. I won't do it.
The Scott and T-Bob stuff gets a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and if you're still here, you can tell me if I'm right or not. I believe in the first few episodes, doesn't Scott die? And then he gets brought back, some kind of weird alien thing.
That's the one with the meteor, right?
Yeah, it's one of the first few episodes, and I believe Scott dies. And then he gets brought back. I don't know. But I agree, Scott and T-Bob are really annoying, and Matt Tracker is the worst father of all time in that aspect, because he just stay in this mansion that's as big as this town we live in. Just stay there. And Scott's like, no, me and this droid that you built for me, we're gonna go and wreak havoc. And he
That's
always
it.
shows up, and it's always something to do with we got to go get Scott again. I kind of gets tired, but
Okay, isn't Scott Matt's nephew?
Bill, can you answer that one? Doesn't die first episode. Hondo protects Scott. Isn't there one where Scott dies, then he comes back, Bill? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I remember the
Yeah.
thing about Hondo and the meteor. Yeah, that female doctor kind of does some weird
it's one of the
meteor
early
magic.
ones. Yeah.
I thought he was his son, but I could be wrong. Like, there was never a mention of his mom, though. Eh? Like, where's Scott's mom?
Again,
Did she die? Like, ew.
Because in one of the comic stories, Scott is Matt's nephew, and Matt and Scott's dad and Miles Mayhem develop the M.A.S.K technology.
Yes.
Miles Mayhem betrays him. Scott's dad dies.
Yep.
And then Matt Tracker takes him in. So he's technically his nephew.
Right. Yeah, so he's a bad uncle or stepdad, whatever you want to call him. He's terrible with babysitting kids.
New dad, whatever. He's just new dad.
Nickman says the vehicle is totally awesome, and also one that two can construct in real life. M.A.S.K of Hondo is one of the best. I agree. He's a great character, and we get to see Hondo a lot. We don't get to see this version too much, which is a shame because Firecracker is great. I'm going to give Firecracker I'm going to give it a B. Neil?
Same thing. Yeah, I'm going to give it a B as well.
Okay.
I didn't have this one. Again, I did have the Hurricane that came later. Certainly the green, Chevy with flames and everything, which I thought was cool. But I really did like this design. I love the idea of of what they're doing here. Like you said, I mean, the motorcycle in the back is obviously the highlight here of the vehicle. The Honda McLean figure, very cool. It's nice that we got a couple of different versions of him in the line. But just because I haven't really had any time with it, I guess, and I don't really know kind of, is it like fragile? Does it work really well? And things like that. I don't really know. So I'm just going to give it an average score based on the look of it and the design and the idea. I'm going to give it a B.
Like Chad was saying earlier, I had Firecracker. I don't anymore. Mine broke, which is funny because what I'm about to say kind of contradicts that. But when it squishes down and springs back up, I never had a problem with that catching. I never had a problem with that. Mine, the tires, I think, broke on it or something. Something stupid happened to it. But it is a pretty solid vehicle. Rob says, I love Firecracker. The truck design is great. I had this one, but it's long gone. I'm on the hunt for this guy. Me too, man. And anytime you see M.A.S.K stuff in the wild, it's pretty rare. Gives it a B. Excellent. Ryan gives Firecracker a solid B. A for Firecracker and Hondo. Awesome. B- from Bill. Can't argue with the master. And Jeff gives it an A. Love the whole thing. Chad, bring it home, baby.
Sure. The Chevy K30 that this truck is based on, like it looks just like it too. And again, another orange vehicle. I'm a sucker for the orange vehicles.
Yeah. So you must like Dirk Diggler's Corvette and Boogie Nights then.
Okay. Yeah, going back to what you're saying about the transformation mechanism and how it locks down and then comes back up, it's definitely way more robust than, say, like a Goliath from the later waves where you have to like hold a button and pray to God and then it just boink and it falls apart.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a B. Honda's a great character. I love the short mask. Overall, it's getting a B.
3 Bs. And it is cool. Again, I'm not going to harp on the mask too much, but it was really great to see a mask that wasn't, completely covering their whole face. So the designers who created all of these just really went all out, in my opinion. Oh boy. Well, for the first M.A.S.K ranking live stream, of course, we had to have a couple of the heavy hitters on here. I didn't put them all on here because we got to save that. Right? Savor it. Switchblade. I think before we get into Switchblade, Chad, you got a bunch of things that you actually want to share with us. Some customs that you may have created, Some
You know
things.
what's funny? Since you pulled up the Switchblade, you know I'm real big into customizing, right?
I do, yeah.
So I love Mask. G.I. Joe is my primary love. I love the 3 3/4, 4-inch scale. So I make a lot of custom Mask vehicles in the 4-inch scale, right? So what I finished for Friday, well, here first, if you want to see it. So I know you already saw it, Jay, but this is my custom 4-inch Rhino.
That is insane, dude.
Yeah. And it transforms, and the missile doesn't fire, but I
That is
made that.
insane.
Yeah.
So
And then
for
I had to
anyone,
put some Joe stuff on it.
I mean, Rhino is probably overall the greatest vehicle, and this is one Chad made from
Yeah.
scratch, and this is to accompany the 3.75-inch figures. That's
Correct.
incredible, dude.
And Matt Tracker, the 4-inch 25th anniversary Matt Tracker's in there.
The Joe's in there, yeah.
So,
Wow.
like, everything you see, the windows, like I put the windows in, all the chrome, everything. I made that. So I made that out of a Playmobil semi and a Peterbilt model kit, and I can
Wow.
actually close it up. And then, so for Friday, thanks Ryan, I really appreciate that. I made this for yesterday, and this is a 4-inch Switchblade.
Dude.
Oh wow.
I made
Holy
that.
cow.
I
Cool.
made this sucker, and like the blades come out.
Wow.
You know, like it'll spin the whole 9 yards. I can put the wings back, all that good stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, I made this sucker.
It's cool,
made-
and there's just a hint of like an updated look. Like
Yeah.
it still looks like it's almost like if you know how G.I. Joe classified it's Duke, but it's just a little modern. That
Yeah.
looks like Switchblade, but just a little bit modern, but it still looks 80s.
Right.
That's incredible.
So I got a set of reproduction stickers, right? So these are all the, well, you can't call them original, they're repros, but these are the exact stickers that would be on the Switchblade. And if you notice, like just how I put the Joe stickers on my Rhino,
Yeah.
I put a couple little Cobra stickers on my Switchblade. But these are the
Love that.
original Switchblade landing gear. I got these. I bought them as parts just so I could put them on here. And that's like, I
Well,
made that sucker. These are model airplane wings, and I just put them on
and
there.
you have the Miles Mayhem to go with it, correct?
Yeah, I actually have two. So
Oh,
my buddy
dude,
Sean made me that one,
so
right? And
wicked.
so you can see the scale, right? So he actually fits in the cockpit. And then I have the one that I showed you the last time, and they're 4-inch
Oh.
figures.
That is incredible. So Bill's got a question specifically for you, Chad. Here you go.
Okay. I'll get it out in the mail on Monday. How about that?
Yeah, that's
But yeah, there it is. That's my 4-inch scale Switchblade.
incredible, dude. You have quite a talent there. Like I said, I wish I had the skills to do something like that, but those customs are great. That Rhino is amazing.
Yeah.
Back to the boring,
appreciate it.
regular, tiny little Switchblade.
Well, you actually motivated me to finally finish that Switchblade. So thanks for lighting a fire under my ass so I could just have it
anytime,
for this
brother.
show.
Cade says absolutely sick. Bill wants to know how long did each take roughly, Chad, for the Rhino and for the Switchblade?
Start to finish, between concept and getting all the pieces, parts, the model kits, kit bashing it, prepping it, painting it, putting it all together. The Rhino took me about a month, and the Switchblade took me probably 2 weeks.
Wow.
The Rhino's really intricate. That one was really involved. Just getting the ram to sit on there right was hard.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Takes a while.
So we have the Cobra Commander of M.A.S.K here. This is the main bad guy. Well, I gotta say, I was never a huge fan of Miles or Maximus Mayhem. He's okay, but it was always kind of weird for me that he had like this general's kind of uniform on. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky. He was not my favorite antagonist of the 80s. Let's put it that way. Switchblade, on the other hand, is nothing but 100% badass. You got This is obviously not based off of any kind of real world helicopter or jet. This is kind of taking the Piranha route, where it's very 80s, but it's very futuristic of the time. I mean, this thing is incredible. This was a showstopper. Every single time we played M.A.S.K, this was always picked. So how it worked with my friends and I, we would actually purchase different M.A.S.K toys, and we wouldn't double up, so that when we played, we would have this big pool, and then we do first, second, and third pick, right? And so we would each share all our stuff, which was really fun. And my neighbor had Switchblade. I didn't, but it was always picked. This is probably easily in the top 3, I would say, of the most iconic vehicles for M.A.S.K. Chad, since this is your vehicle, I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the original here.
I love it. I've always loved it. Switchblade always held a special place in my heart. I just love how you transform it. I love the fact that you can actually make the rotors work on it too, on that side knob.
Yeah.
I like the Viper M.A.S.K, and I actually like Miles Mayhem. To me, he's like a weird amalgamation of Joseph Stalin and like a Saddam Hussein. You know what I mean? He's like Stalin and Hussein kind of put together.
Yeah, I mean, Miles Mayhem is not going to get in any kind of physical, altercation with anyone and win. He's more of the brain, which is also cool, right? That's a nice different take. I mean, that's really cool that you have that take on him. I never looked at him that way, and I'm never gonna look at him the same after that.
There's also that episode where Scott and T-Bob steal the Switchblade from him, and he kind of loses his mind. So that's pretty cool.
Well, because they can fly this futuristic jet. Of course, I mean, of
course they can.
Come on,
I just love it. I love the vehicle. I love the lines of it, like the silhouette. It's just, to me, it's great.
What's up?
It works great as a plane. It works great as a helicopter.
Black Arrow says, can land on rooftops or land on the runway as needed. Yeah. It was always kind of funny. I mean, it was almost overkill, right? How he was a helicopter and a jet. I guess if you look at the Cobra Rattler, it did the same thing, and it was just a jet, right? But I loved the jet part, but I really wished that it would have turned into something else. I don't know. Maybe a ground vehicle into a jet, I think would have been a little bit better if I had to critique it. But look at this beautiful toy. It is so gorgeous. I'm just gonna throw it out there. If you don't give Switchblade an A, and I'm just saying this to everyone out there, then I don't know what deserves an A. But I'm just throwing that out there right now. This is the character, the M.A.S.K, the vehicle altogether encompasses everything that's great about this line. It's a perfect toy. Neil, take her away.
Well, I wish I had this as a kid. This is one of those toys that got away, right? When you're a kid, you can't have it all. But I had a lot. I was very lucky. But it was one of those ones that I really wanted, and I don't think my folks could ever find it or something. It was hard to find. It was very popular. It was sold out a lot. I remember that. But yeah, I mean, okay, a helicopter and then a jet, it's it's not the biggest contrast in, but then again, it doesn't have to be necessarily, right? I mean, it'd be one flying vehicle into another flying vehicle, like, why not? I mean, that's what M.A.S.K is, right? It's vehicles that turn into weaponized vehicles, So yeah, I love it. I love the Switchblade. I barely touched it in my whole life, of course, like I said, kid across the street had it, again, lucky kid, damn you. But no, he let me check it out one time, and I was very impressed with it. I'm not sure about the missiles, how well they fire, or if they even fire, or maybe you got to flick them or something. But it's a great design. It's got the usual kind of issues like all M.A.S.K toys do, where if you play with it too much, it's not gonna transform too well.
This one is really fragile.
I guess that's kind of a general thing, right? That's going to go for a lot of M.A.S.K toys, and a lot of toys just period. Any of these spring-loaded mechanisms, but that's a minor misgiving aside, of course. And yeah, I am going to give it an A. certainly. And the Miles Mayhem character, I like him. Like you said, I was going to say he's totally Stalin. Yeah, but you already said that. So yeah, it's all about the mustache. Dictators, tyrants, they always have mustaches.
Of course.
Or beards or whatever. But he's cool. I like the fact that he's got the military too, because he might have been like a former military guy or something, and he was dishonorably discharged or something. I always thought that maybe that was his story. I could be wrong, right? But
okay, well,
yeah, cool.
Now you're starting to change my mind, both of you guys, on this character. I'm starting to warm up a little bit more because the way you're describing him, yeah, I never really thought of it that way.
He's savage.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Rob here, we were talking the other day. He just got a complete one in the box from a show. So congrats to you on that one, man. That one is that's if you're gonna get one M.A.S.K vehicle, complete with a box. I mean, Switchblade is definitely up there. Bill says I placed it in the S tier when I ranked them a while back. For me, it's top 5. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you don't like this vehicle, if you don't like this character, and if you don't like the M.A.S.K, I don't see how you can like the rest of this show, because this is pretty much everything that M.A.S.K encompasses. So Chad, what are you gonna give it?
You know what I'm giving it, right? Like I'm giving it an A.
The old A. So
yeah, I'm giving
that the one A. Yeah,
our first perfect.
That's totally getting an A for me. And Neil, just because you were asking, right? So these don't actually fire. The guns and the landing gear, they pop out when you transform them. They just kind of pop out. Only the bomb drops out of the bottom.
Cool. All right, it's the box art that makes it seem that way.
yeah. False advertisement.
Missiles don't actually fire. Yeah, small.
Vickman, that's a great description of Miles Mayhem. Absolutely. And a character that was created with everything that was going on in the world at the time too, in the 80s. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. Of course, Rob gives it a double A, and Ryan gives it an A, and Bill gives it an A+. Just shattering. Perfect scores here. Is there going to be another M.A.S.K vehicle that's going to top Switchblade? Well, we'll have to see. Let's
maybe one or two.
Perhaps. But not this one.
No, God, not Volcano.
Oh, good. One we can trash. They've all been so good so far.
So Bill, you can let me know here what wave this is from. I think it's the 3rd wave. I believe Volcano was one I got near the end of my M.A.S.K collecting. I never got into the race series. I was just kind of out of M.A.S.K by then. I didn't follow. I didn't like how they were racing and fighting. It was just kind of stupid to me. They really changed the direction of the show. I didn't like it. So I don't have any of that stuff. This was, I believe, if I remember correctly, my final M.A.S.K vehicle that my mom got for me. So it's the 80s. What's one of the biggest icons of the 80s? Bigfoot, the Bigfoot truck, right? I mean, there was a friggin' NES game based on a Bigfoot truck, for goodness sake, So monster trucks were all the rage. I don't know if they still are, but certainly in the 1980s they were. And this is our monster truck. This is Volcano. It certainly looks like a volcano when it's transformed, but this one really suffers from a gimmick. This was a motorized vehicle. It would roll forward, like the Mobat from Joe, but it was just like, the idea was a monster truck, so you would just let it go and it would crush all the other M.A.S.K vehicles, which is kind of dangerous too, because this thing is super heavy and the M.A.S.K stuff's delicate. I never liked it. I never liked anything to do with this. I mean, even if you look at it transformed, what is it? Like, what is this? It's like, I guess it's a battle station, I guess.
Yeah, like a battle platform.
But it's really just like the cannon coming out of the middle, like Jacques coming out of the middle, and it looks like a volcano, which is kind of cool. But I mean, it's just a couple guns, and then the things coming out of the tires, right? I don't know.
And he's sitting there with like a roller coaster, bar across him, and it's just funky.
Yeah, so we get another version of Matt Tracker. What did Matt have? Lava Shot. Which was cool. I'm assuming it shot fire. I never liked the design I never liked the design of Lava Shot as we see here. It's kind of I mean, both of these masks are kind of insectoid looking. I don't like the way Tracker looks. I don't like his uniform. I don't like anything about the Matt Tracker. I like Jacques. Jacques is a really cool figure. And what does Jacques have? Mirage. I like his mask. Actually, it's oddly enough, it's one of my favorite mask designs, Jacques' helmet here. I think it's really great. I like his kind of like, I don't know, what would you say Jacques' look is? It's like almost like a lumberjack, like a blue collar lumberjack kind of look he's got going on here. It's just very
like
different.
A piano mover.
Piano mover, yeah, like a furniture mover, maybe. That was his thing before he got called and he dropped the piano on somebody when he heard the mask siren calling. I don't know, guys. You guys very well may have a different opinion on this vehicle than I do. I'm not a fan of Volcano. What about you, Chad? Articulated Mayhem.
Articulated Mayhem.
What do you think?
I no, because the whole motorized function makes the bottom of it just so fat and awkward, and it's like, yeah, it's a monster truck, it's a van, it's like Truckosaurus. I don't like the way the smokestack, the guns are, the way they sit down there low, and then when you put them up, they're in awkward positions. When you transform it, just the way those main guns come out of the sunroof, and you sometimes you kind of have to help that sunroof open, and the way everybody sits in it is just funky. And then when it's actually moving, it's very awkward, and it jolts.
I don't remember.
I was never a fan.
I don't remember it moving. I think I tried it once. I was never a gimmick guy. Like with the Joe Mobat, I never put batteries in it. I didn't like any of that stuff. I liked controlling it myself with my imagination.
This one's jarring when it moves.
This one cost me study 6 months to get straight A in school. Oh, that's for Switchblade. More Monster Van. Yeah. I mean, it was the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Bill says, I appreciate the effort on this by Kenner on this one. It just didn't land well. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And I don't think this was part of the racing series. Well, you're not going to really go anywhere with this truck very fast anyway. So, yeah, mechanics motor. Yeah, this one was just, I mean, I'm just going to, Neil, give me your thoughts on this before I'm pretty sure I know what we're all going to say for this one, but go ahead. Give us your thoughts. Trash Volcano or love it. Whatever you choose.
Well, I guess it's cool that it comes with two figures, right? So it comes with
Very
Matt
cool.
and Junk. So there's your positive. You get two figures, just like the Rhino. You get two figures, yay! But unlike the Rhino, this vehicle is just really unattractive. It's really looks kind of crummy when it's transformed into this Volcano, this like rocket launcher, missile launcher thing. I know that some of these vehicles, it's just the way it's going to go, and that's how it's supposed to be. But a lot of them, when the transformation takes place and they turn into a weaponized vehicle or whatever, whatever's, if they leave any part of it behind, or if it changes so much that the thing just looks kind of dumb now, it's really disappointing, right? I mean, you got the Piranha where if it launches the little sub there, you still got a motorcycle. It's still cool. You can still use the other half. Same with the Gator. You get this kind of empty shell orange Jeep, but you still got a Jeep going on. What is this? It's just this little. It almost looks broken. It almost looks like a broken monster truck or a monster van, or or whatever you want to call it, right? So yeah, I'm not crazy about it. Just the figures are the real plus here.
Well, this here, I was almost thinking it was a mobile kind of defense or attack post, but you can't move it, you can't drive it, right? So you see Matt Tracker on the bottom here, and you really have Jacques in the gun turret, and that's it. No one can move this thing, so it's a stationary post too, right? I mean, it's pretty well fortified. But if we go back to the other picture here, I agree with you, Chad. That black block. It's just like, I mean, I get it. I mean, this thing probably took 600 D batteries. I get it. But this black block really just is ugly, and it's really flawed design-wise. I know monster trucks kind of look this way, but I think that black block is too much.
It's huge, and it has like instructions on the bottom on how to make it do, and it like says, dude, go this way for this and this way for that. And It's just wacky.
Vickman says, I watched two volcanoes erupt. I mean, burn because the mechanism failed. Bill says, I think that's my least favorite version of Matt Tracker. Mask being a different color really makes it odd. Yeah, and I just think his outfit it's just terrible. I agree about Jacques, but the vehicle just wasn't designed well. Yeah. So Bill, the master of mask, gives it a C. Rob's got a soft spot for Volcano, and he's going with a B. He's very generous. That's great. Jeff's same here with Matt. C for Jeff. And Vickman says it's a monster truck. It's a turret. It's an ugly vehicle. It's an identity crisis truck.
Yeah,
that's good, dude. Ryan gives it a C. Okay, and Vickman gives it a D. Vickman, I'm with you, my friend. This is about as low as it gets. I think I might be biting off more than I can chew, but I'm pretty sure this is my least favorite in the entire line. So I'm giving it a solid D. Although I do like Jacques, but not enough to bring that up to a C. There's just the vehicles and Matt Tracker is just, it's bad. D. Neil.
Same. D. Yeah. D for disappointing.
Chad, you're in the same boat.
So I thought this was part of the Split Second series. Was that Wave 4? Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about the masks, to me, those two masks, like especially when you look at the box art, they look like Batman villain masks. Like Jacques looks like Firefly, and whatever Matt Tracker's wearing, I don't know. It looked like Arkham Knight or something. Yeah. So this to me, it doesn't. Oh, series 2. It doesn't scream low effort, but it screams like tried too hard almost. The gimmicks, the mechanism, the whole janky movement of it, I'm giving it a D as well. And I'm not giving it a D because they swung for the fences. I'm giving it a D because it's just, oh God, it's rough.
Well, I think there would have been, to be completely honest here, because the designers at Kenner they're geniuses. I think there would have been a way to do a monster truck. I just think, maybe the van, I can even see the top part, the van part would turn into a ship or something. I'm almost thinking Skylinks from Transformers, where the top half would be something and the bottom half would turn into something. That would make more sense. But I get they want the volcano imagery, right? So they want it to go up like a pyramid. But I would rather have seen, two different vehicles. I mean, how great would that? Then you got a vehicle for Matt and a vehicle for Jacques, because as it stands now and it transforms, one of them is standing outside. Doing nothing, right? There's not even like a turret for him to use outside or anything.
It'd be cool if they did separate, like Skylinks or like the Gator. It would separate, and then you could have two different vehicles and two different drivers. Yeah, well,
you could do a million things with that bottom base, that whole black piece. You could do a million things with that, but instead, it pops open and looks like shit.
Eliminate the motorized bottom. This could have been better as a tank. Yeah, a tank. See, the bottom part could have been a tank. That's great. But I mean, I get it from a marketing standpoint, right? I mean, kids loved their vehicles that moved, right? RC cars and all that stuff. So I get it. And the big appeal in the 80s of the Bigfoot and the monster trucks was that they could crush anything, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm trying to defend it. Take care, Bill. Thanks for showing up, brother. Check out Matt Tracker on YouTube, guys. Okay, let's move on here. Wildcat. So, Buddy Clutch Hawks is one of my favorite characters in the show. I got to be completely honest with you guys. This is from the racing series. I never had this vehicle. I don't know anything about this vehicle, but I love the way the truck looks. I just love the way the truck looks. Maybe not transformed, but I love the way the truck looks. And I'm a big fan of Buddy. So if you guys are more experienced with this one, please go ahead. We'll give it to Neil here if you're familiar with this one at all.
I'm not. No, I'm not at all. Okay. I'm guessing the racing series, was that like 87, 88, like near the end of the line?
This was the end. This
87.
Is when, yeah, okay. This is when they decided to, instead of just, regular combat across the world, they would settle it on the racetrack. Like, what?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do like the figure, like the character, but the toy, I there we go. Thank you. That's interesting. So it comes with 6 little discs.
Right, yeah.
kind of like the Raven, I guess, that go in there, and do they shoot out, I guess, or I don't
Yeah,
know.
they come out of the grill.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to look here.
Okay. Shoot out of the grill. The truck does look good. It's a tow truck, right? It looks
It's a tow
like
truck.
a tow truck, or maybe something.
That I gotta say, dude, I'm right with you. That truck right there is gorgeous looking. Like that thing is just amazing. I love the way Buddy looks. He looks very similar to his Boulder Hill version. The mask, I'm trying to get a better look at the mask here. Yeah, the mask is kind of weird looking. It's kind of like stars. I don't know, but anyway, continue on. Sorry.
Hold on. That's all I can really say about it. Just that, yeah, it does look good in regular vehicle truck mode, but in its kind of weaponized mode, I get obviously the front seems to lift up here, and then it becomes like this kind of turret almost kind of thing, like the front cab becomes this turret, looks like. So that's cool. I like that idea. I don't know how well it functioned as an actual toy, but it looks cool. That's all I can say. It looks cool.
Chad, did you have this one?
I did not. No, I never found Wildcat as a kid.
Yeah, I picked this one just because I honestly didn't know anybody who had this. We certainly didn't have this when we were playing Mask.
Yeah.
It was, again, one of the later ones, and I was out of Mask by then. But I mean, it seems kind of dull. It's a tow truck, so if one of the cars broke down on the racetrack, and Buddy would have to go pick them up, kind of thing. The transformation here, it looks a little goofy, but it does look like it actually has purpose. You can see the discs shoot out of the bottom, and it looks like Buddy can still drive it and steer it around. So unlike Volcano, it's not stationary. It can move and actually, get out of the way. Also in the back, it looks like maybe the tow truck part, has a cannon in the back as well. It looks like it's got a lot of functionality to it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of gimmicks.
Figment says Wildcat fits perfectly with Buddy Hawks, and it looks cool as a truck. The transformation, I don't know. I agree with you, Vicman. The transformation kind of sucks. It looks weird, but I mean, as a weapon, I think it's pretty cool because it can move around, and you have defenses in the back and lots of firepower in the front. Although the engine block seems to be exposed. So that's kind of maybe a fatal flaw. It's just shoot the engine and then it's getting duck kind of thing.
Throw some dirt in it.
I don't see how this could possibly go against Switchblade or anything like that. But I mean, maybe against other ground vehicles, it would be good.
This is also later when that whole Series 3, a lot of the guns in the transform modes just looked weird. Like they were just like this. They're just kind of like this weird yellow orange, like sticks that stick out of it. Like Bulldog has one too that looks really awkward.
Yeah. Trent, you're gonna enjoy Mask very much, my friend. It's a great show for sure.
Yeah.
Good height on the turret mode. I never had this one either. Black Arrow, dude, I don't know anybody who had Wildcat. The only person I know who has this might be Bill right now. I don't even have this in my adult collecting years in my Mask toy line. I don't have Wildcat. I've never even seen it, to be completely honest with you. I've never held it, so I don't know the functionality. I don't know how well it transforms. I don't know if there's flaws to it. I do have to say though, something that we failed to mention was most of the tires actually had the Goodyear brand, at least in the first couple of series, actually had the Goodyear brand, and they were made of real rubber, which is just something that is so incredible. And if you don't take care of your Mask vehicles well, the tires split. This is something known as the dry rot on the rubber. And it's just, if they get dried out, they will crack. And that's one of the most difficult things to find complete on any Mask vehicle. If you're looking at Thunderhawk or Rhino, most of the time the tires are split. At least one of them is usually. Okay. I love Buddy. I'm not a huge fan of this helmet. It's okay. It looks kind of like a ninja, kind of. I do love the way he looks here. He's got his trademark headphones. He's got his trademark Neil hat on right here, the AC/DC hat. I think he looks great. The figure's awesome. The tow truck is incredible. I love this vehicle. I don't love the transformation, though. I'm going to give it a B. Wildcat gets a B for me. Neil?
Same. I'm gonna give it a B because I like the look of it. Obviously, like I said, we never held it in my hands. I don't know if it was even available in Canada. I don't know, but maybe it was. I don't know, but it's definitely one of the better Kenner designs for the basic, form of the vehicle before it transforms into a weaponized vehicle.
Right.
And that's the part that I'm not sure of, right? I don't know how well that weaponized vehicle works. If I had one in my hands and I could test it out and it was awesome, I might give it an A. But just, based on functionality along with the look and the cool figure and everything. But because of that, I'm just going to give it a B straight up. So just for...
I think that's really interesting that not a lot of people in chat or any of us here on the panel ever had this or even like held it or anything. That's crazy. Chad, you might be right. It might have, I don't know, man. It might have been short printed because it was near the end of the line. Maybe there wasn't a lot going around and maybe it just didn't sell. So there's not a lot out there. I don't know.
I've only seen 3 vehicles from Series 3 ever. And this is not one of them. I've seen videos on Wildcat, but that's it. Just because I was trying to learn more about it.
Yeah, the Goodyear logo was great, Jeff. I mean, that was really cool back in the day. Even though I'm not a car guy, I can appreciate how big of an achievement that was for toys. B as well. Rob, I never had a Wildcat, but I love the design. I would love to find it. Solid B. B's all around. Ryan, B. Everyone's giving it a B. That's great. So, I mean, that's a really... it's an acceptable score. That's an acceptable
I'm going
score.
C.
You're going C. Fair enough.
I'm going C just because it's unknown. And there's some really great vehicles that I like that I gave B's. So
speaking of great vehicles.
Oh yeah.
And now the most well-known. One of them.
I mean, guys, 100% A. This is a perfect M.A.S.K vehicle. This is a perfect M.A.S.K character. Brad Turner is a rock star as his alternate job when he's not fighting crime. He is a friggin' rock star.
Yep.
He has a cool looking motorbike. He has a mask called Hocus Pocus where he can just make illusions happen. And the color scheme is fantastic. I'm sorry to blow my wad right off the bat, but this is one of those ones where, I mean, this is a perfect M.A.S.K toy. And it's in the lower end for price point too. So, if your parents couldn't afford the big stuff, which that happened with a lot of us, because this stuff was expensive. If you got Brad Turner and Condor, you felt just as cool as the kids who had Thunderhawk, because this thing, I don't know, man, this might rival Thunderhawk as being one of the best M.A.S.K vehicles of all time. Listen to me gush. Take it away, Mayhem. Bring this down a couple pegs, will you?
All right, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. So the motorcycle's not really based on anything real world, but it is cool, especially the way that green kind of pops against his yellow and red, which I really like the contrast of when you sit Brad Turner on that motorcycle, the way that he kind of stands out. The transformation gimmick is really easy, real smooth, not a lot of stuff to break or snap or fall apart when you transform Condor. So very reliable. Yes, lower price point vehicle. It was like $6, $8 US. Like it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
I had it. I think I had multiples of this when I was young because everybody just wanted to buy me the little cheap M.A.S.K stuff. Yeah, it's great.
It's funny. I mean, this is a case where, everyone wanted Rhino and Switchblade, but this one is just so perfect. I mean, you look at the transformation. The only thing I remember happening was the front windshield would come off. So a lot of Condors don't have that, but it was never broken. It just came off. And the blades, the plastic actually bends. I've never seen one broken, but there's stress marks where it kind of bends in. Other than that, I mean, the fact that it's not based on any real world kind of motorbike kind of sucks. But this thing is, I mean, it's like a Kawasaki Ninja. I don't know anything about bikes, but it looks like it's from the 80s. It looks like this thing would be going up and down Sunset Strip in Los Angeles on a Saturday night with Brad Turner, playing a show. Solid
lime green. He's like listening to Poison and shit. He's just
of course down. Open up and say, of course he is.
Hell yeah.
My voice cracks. Neil, lift this baby up or bring her down.
Oh, I think we already know what I'm going to say. Yeah, this is my personal favorite mask toy of all time.
Oh, boy.
I mean, out of the ones I got to have anyway, right? I mean, I might love the Switchblade too, but I never had it, or the Rhino. But this one being, yeah, like you said, the perfect price point for parents and anyone needing to buy a gift for their kid in 1985. This was it. This was the one to get. The neon green I like because it is so 80s. As you said, the bike is very futuristic looking. Unlike the Piranha, it's not very realistic, but it's really cool looking. I mean, it almost looks like something out of Akira or something, like one of those cool kind of future bikes.
Yeah.
But Brad Turner, obviously a super cool character, and I like the look of him. The green and yellow go really well for good guys, I find, the bright colors like that. Yellow is almost always a good guy color, and bright green is kind of the same in my experience. But yeah, Brad Turner, yeah, obviously cool character, guitar player, sunglasses, all that stuff. But really, it's just the simple but effective design that Kenner did with this vehicle. It's as nostalgic and as memorable as any of the other toys in M.A.S.K. Certainly, it seems like every kid we knew had it, right? Because of the cheapness, like it wasn't that expensive. So yeah, I mean, I think you know what score I'm going to give it, but I'll wait. It's brilliant. I love it.
You're going to give it an A, obviously. Chad?
He's like the M.A.S.K version of Blowtorch. Like, check him out. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm interested, man. I don't feel the pressure just because it's the perfect M.A.S.K toy. I don't feel like
don't feel the pressure just because I could get fired. No, I'm giving him an
A. One thing that's triple A's for Condor. I will say too, I don't know if one of you guys mentioned this or not, but the fact that it is a ground vehicle and then it turns into a flying vehicle is a bonus, right? So it's not just a ground vehicle that turns into a tank. It actually has two functions. I'm a big fan of that. That's why I love Thunderhawk so much, because it's a really fast car and it's also like a jet plane. Let's go to the chat. Condor, my first M.A.S.K toy. Great character, Brad. A. Ryan. A. Brad effing rocks. It's a Kawasaki Ninja Green. A. Love everything about it. Yeah, I mean, this if there's ever a M.A.S.K figure toy to give a perfect score to, it's this one. Perfect all around. Rob, of course, gives it an A as well. Good job, guys. It's just going to get harder. I think I remember the last couple here, and it's just going to get harder. Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Okay, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything. Who wants to take away at the beginning of this conversation? I'm not going to, because I'm going to explode. So, Neil, Chad.
Go for it, Neil.
I never had it. I thought it was cool. I liked it. It was the gas station, posing as the underground headquarters of M.A.S.K and everything. And when it transformed and there were there were cannons and stuff, like there was gun turrets and little weapons and guns that popped out and things, and the garage door flips or something. My memory of this thing is kind of fuzzy in terms of everything it does, but it's really cool. And I think that the boulder comes off. Yeah, the top of the mountain can come down and crush the venom, I guess, or something. But
you have to have really good aim. I don't know if that's calculated or not.
Yeah, exactly. You got one shot too.
The gas station pumps turn into laser cannons. The gas station sign has twin cannons. Yep. There's a cannon as well at the front of the gas station, comes down to form a barricade, and there's a laser cannon that you can kind of see just poking out kind of by the helicopter pad there that sticks out. So this thing,
that's a cool feature.
Yeah, and then of course on top of the boulder mountain itself, there's another cannon. So this thing is a kick-ass military base.
Sweet. I think it's the only base M.A.S.K made, right? There were no Venom bases or any other bases as far as I know. I think
they made weird little. Good. They made weird little outpost things later on, but yeah, this is the only base. Yeah.
Right. So it's the only HQ. Yeah.
Cool. And this was the exact same one from the show. I mean, this was the gas station, the Boulder Hill gas station that was in the side of the mountain. This is where they would go Matt would take his little car and end up here, and they would, after he chose the agents for the mission, which was the best part of the show. Then he would go here, and they would all sit at the table and get their masks. Very, very cool. Chad, what are your thoughts on the Boulder Hill playset?
That's the only thing that this playset is missing, is that like Knights of the Round Table with
that chamber.
the turret that comes down with all their masks on it that get powered.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen that. So, fun fact, I have been working on making a 4-inch scale version of Boulder Hill for a while.
Oh,
I love this playset. I love it. I love everything about it. Like the transformations are simple, they're sharp, they're effective. The way that the gas pumps snap up and then the sign drops down and the boulder comes off the top and then boom, here comes the storefront and then you slide over that armored semicircle. I love this playset. There's only 3 things that I don't like about Boulder Hill, and they are the most minor nitpicks. 1, Rhino won't fit through the armored doors. 2, it doesn't have that table for them to sit at. But, the interior has other play values. It has the jail cell and that big computer terminal and all that stuff. And 3, that solid base piece of plastic is kind of a nightmare. But other than that, this is one of my top 4 play sets out of any 80s line ever. I love this thing.
Funny you should mention that. Besides the flag, which is my favorite all-time playset of any toy, this is number 2, hands down. Boulder Hill is my second favorite playset, and I never had it as a kid. This is one I only acquired a couple of years ago, actually. I just got it. But that dark gray charcoal base is one solid piece of very flimsy plastic, and everything literally hinges into it.
Yep.
And if that thing cracks or breaks, your whole playset is gone. Of course, you can, glue the base back together, but everything kind of sits on that, which is good and bad. This thing is extremely fragile. I'm just giving a few negatives here before I gush over this thing. Time hasn't aged this well, so everything clamps together, and there's a lot of stress. You can see on the upper portion of Boulder Hill here, the mountain actually hooks into the helicopter pad, and putting the 3 walls together is very difficult to do, especially with the plastic being so brittle now, 1,000 years after this has been made. So finding one that hasn't been stressed to crap and then actually doesn't snap on you is pretty hard to do. This is a very difficult playset to complete. My advice to anyone who wants a Boulder Hill playset, I got mine complete. I paid the extra money I saved up. Don't piece this one together. I would get one that's complete 100% if you're going to do it. Because even a few of the missing parts to make it not look as great as well.
Or a warped piece.
What's that? Sorry?
Or a warped piece.
A warped piece. And I actually have 2 Boulder Hill play sets that I got my first one, and I had a few of the walls that were warped. So I had to go and buy a second one and take the 2 of them and combine into one great one. It's hard to complete. Now the positives, the jail cell, I love putting Miles in it. When it's in its gas station form, along the front here, Thunderhawk and Gator fit really nice. And actually, sorry, Chad, I don't have an actual picture of the gas station form. I should have thought about that. But it looks like you have some great stickers on the front where it looks like a gas station from afar. It's all stickers, right? There's no actual glass panels or anything. You can't look inside. But it's just a fantastic playset. And it's at the beginning of the show. This is one of the few playsets that actually looks exactly like it does in the show. Of course, we know the pit from G.I. Joe looks nothing like the G.I. Joe headquarters. I mean, the headquarters is pretty good estimation of what it would look like, but this one looks exactly identical to the show. And let's not forget about the 2 exclusive characters at the time. 2 really, really strong personalities. You got Alex Sector with Jack Rabbit, and of course, Buddy Hawks. What's his mask? I can't remember. Got it written here. Penetrator.
Yeah.
So this was the only way. And Kenner did this Hasbro did this, and I loved it. Hasbro did it with G.I. Joe. They would put a vehicle driver that you could only get with that vehicle. If you didn't get the Rattler, you couldn't get Wild Weasel. If you didn't buy Boulder Hill, you couldn't get Alex at the time, and you couldn't get Buddy. And I thought that was great because that just made these figures that much more epic, especially as a kid. Because I don't know any kids that had Boulder Hill. How about you guys?
I had it, so I mean, I knew me.
Oh, wait a minute. What? You had Boulder Hill as a kid?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I had Boulder Hill.
What a guy. What a guy. You probably had the flag too, didn't you?
No, I didn't have a flag as a kid. I didn't have a terror drum either, but no. Boulder Hill I had.
That's
Love
amazing. So you have
Lifelong
first-hand experience with it. And for me, putting this together for the first time a couple of years ago was just such a joy. And it was one of the coolest toy experiences I've had in a long time as an adult collector. I can't say enough good things about this. Boulder Hill is it's an A, 100% A.
It's satisfying. Like when you slide that mechanism and you see that semicircle, that armored part come around, and it goes click, 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 and you're just like, man, it's so good.
And everything
good.
comes down and it feels solid, and you really feel like when you're playing with this stuff as a kid, when Venom's coming to this outpost, it's like, well, you're gonna have some problems, man. I don't know how you're gonna get into this thing because it's literally a fortified. It's a fortress in a mountain. It's like I don't know how you're gonna get into it, but it's just a kick-ass place. Neil, what are your thoughts, and what do you want to give Boulder Hill here?
Well, you dare not rob that gas station. It's pretty sweet. I never had it as a kid. You know, I had 4 play sets as a kid. I had the G.I. Joe headquarters, the Cobra Terradrome, Castle Grayskull, and Snake Mountain, and those are the only play sets I've ever had in my whole life. So I never even knew kids that had it either. I remember seeing it in like Toys R Us and stuff, and like other toy stores. I remember seeing with the big box and everything, and just being like, wow. But never played with it. Never got to kind of see what it can do. I kind of want to watch a video now of someone like reviewing it or something. You probably have one, Jay. I don't know, but
check out my YouTube channel, my friends. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. I'll have to check it out after. But
I did the whole experience from picking it up at Treehouse and then picking up the second one at Heroes. I in the video I cover all that and then putting it together and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I definitely agree with you on the whole, like, whenever it comes to these kind of play sets with all these little tiny parts, like the flag, for example, you definitely want to get it as complete as you can right off the bat, right? You don't want to look for one little tiny piece and then pay through the nose just for that one little piece or something, which happens, it's the way it goes, especially with retro toys on the aftermarket. Yeah, I mean, I'll give it an A just based on just everything that I've seen and heard about it, because it does look awesome. I see very few flaws. It comes with the 2 figures, like you said, you couldn't get anywhere else at the time, right? So until they came out with 2 packs later, maybe. But for this one, yeah, pretty sweet play set. I mean, if I had room in my collection, I might consider going after one. But no, it is pretty awesome though, and I'll definitely give it an
A. It is a great playset, but I will say, to your point there, one of the flaws I think, and I've heard a lot of collectors complain about this, is that it takes up a lot of room. For a small playset, the way the base is, you have to have like a ton of room. It's almost, I don't know, man. It's almost equivalent to the G.I. Joe base. Like it's really awkward like that, where you need a lot of space to set it up. The Terradrome is big, right? But this thing is just awkward because it's wide and long, right?
Yeah.
So, Chad, what are you going to give Boulder Hill?
So, first of all, the commander there, the ma'am, aka my wife, wants to put guns and cannons like that on our house. So I had to comment on that, which I was just sitting here laughing at that the whole time. Yeah, that's my wife, Mandy.
I was going to bring that comment up that you had one. Yeah, absolutely.
Must be a rough neighborhood there.
No, it's actually not. So, I give Boulder Hill an A all day.
A all day. Whoa.
A all day. Like the molds are great. The mechanisms are great. God forbid you have to find those hoses for the gas pumps, but other than that, it's a beautiful, brilliant playset. Like the mechanisms work great. They're not really prone to fail. I freaking love it. It's so brilliant. And when I make my 4-inch scale one, that's going to be gigantic.
Oh man.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Black
It's
Arrow,
coming.
awesome HQ. I agree. It's got to be one of the coolest 80s headquarters. A lot of playability. There absolutely is. Kid across the street had it. It was fun to play with. It was very iconic to me. Ryan says definitely an A playset for me. This is a grail piece for me. Yeah, Jeff, it was for me too, man. And I got lucky. Both of the ones that I got to piece it together had the box. So I have the US box and I have the Canadian bilingual box as well, which is
Nice.
great because it's one of my favorite play sets. Action figure expert, what's up, mate? Hello. What's up? What's going on? How are you guys doing? We are doing great. It is Saturday night. We're talking about M.A.S.K. Doesn't get much better than this. Rob says, I've never seen Boulder Hill in person. I really don't know how to score it. Dude, let me tell you, it is a sight to behold. I'm going to shrink down here. I don't know how well you can see mine here. It's just sitting there. If you have Thunderhawk or Condor, you can kind of get the idea of the size of it. But dude, it's like I look at this thing every day and it's like, to me, it's like looking at the flag. It's just one of those pieces where you're just like, wow, that's so cool. And another reason why I'm not a fan of the way all these companies have gone 6-inch, right? Because we're never going to see anything like this again. We just won't. Okay, so A across the board. Yeah, I think this is the last one. I believe this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one.
Oh, there it is.
How could I not? It was either going to end with Switchblade, Rhino, or Thunderhawk, but because this is an ongoing weekly show, I can't blow it all here. So I thought I would end it with Rhino. So this is one I never had as a kid. My friends did. So when it was time to play M.A.S.K. and to pick, most of the time, if I got first pick, I would pick Rhino because I didn't have it. And you also got to be Bruce and Matt if you were first pick, because Matt came with a bunch of the vehicles, and whoever picked whatever with Matt got to be Matt Tracker for that episode that we played. Rhino, I think Michael Mercy might have summed it up the best, where he said that this was probably one of the most beautiful toys ever created in the history of toys. And I got to agree. This thing here, let's go to a picture of the actual unboxed Rhino. Look at that thing gleam. This thing has so much chrome on it. One of the more difficult aspects in collecting a Rhino is that the chrome is not rubbed off, because there's so many parts where there's a lot of wear that can happen to it, not to mention the tires. There's 2 tires on each set in the back as well. Guys, hit me here. I'm just going to take a second and look at this gorgeous picture. Neil, take it away.
Love the Rhino, absolutely. The transformation is pretty simple. You know, obviously for a big vehicle, it's not complicated. It's not difficult. It's not brittle. It's not too fragile. Other than the chrome, as you mentioned, of course. You know, Voltron and other toy lines, they have issues with chrome, like Transformers. You know, like the chrome is gonna wear down if you're not careful, right? If it's rubbing against other toys, so be careful how you put it in the toy box, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this was definitely one of my favorites. I played with this till it broke when I was a kid. Literally, the 2 figures, awesome. Yeah, I mean, pretty obvious what score I'm gonna give it, but yeah, I really like it. Really love it. Just massive. I mean, like this thing could like run over Optimus Prime. You know what I mean? As much as I love Prime, that's you know, that's in terms of like the size of it, it's bigger than Prime, it seems. So yeah, pretty cool toy, pretty massive, awesome. A lot like the Condor and the T-Hawk and the Switchblade. It's one of those kind of flagship, great examples of the line and of Kenner's ingenuity, right? Because like M.A.S.K is a complete Kenner creation, right? I mean, it wasn't a show or anything first. I don't believe it was a Kenner thing from the start.
Correct.
And I guess, you know, they got into the whole transforming, you know, had to compete with Transformers in their way. And in terms of a transforming toy, it's one of the best transforming toys ever, and that's including Transformers and GoBots. So I mean, yeah, it's obviously, yeah, definitely one of the best toys of M.A.S.K. and one of the best of the 80s for sure.
So this was really a mobile command center. This was, their base away from their base, which I really appreciate. The back half of Rhino, of course, comes off as a little, I don't want to call it escape pod, just a little vehicle.
Recon vehicle, yeah.
Recon, there you go, a little recon vehicle. This, for
Smokestacks.
some reason, really reminds me of the killer whale from G.I. Joe, if you guys are familiar with that hovercraft. Not in terms of it being the exact same vehicle, but the fact that the whale has so many separate little mini vehicles and so many different functions. Rhino really reminds me of that, where the killer whale from G.I. Joe is almost like a playset. In fact, I would call it a playset. I would call it a mobile playset. Rhino, I would definitely call a mini playset as well. This thing opens up. Let's first off, this is one of the few M.A.S.K toys I actually have the box for, which I'm eternally grateful for. Treehouse Collectibles in Toronto. Guys, check out Treehouse. They are the greatest toy store on the planet. Hands down, they're my favorite. But I got a call from Chris, the owner, and he said, I got a box for Rhino. Do you want it? I'm like, yep. And this thing is pristine, and it's just the art on this is incredible. Just the care and love and the detail that went into this painting is immaculate. You have, in my opinion, the greatest version of Matt Tracker. Yes, even more than the Thunderhawk Matt Tracker. I like this one. The M.A.S.K, I believe, on this Matt Tracker is kind of loosely based off of the logo. That's what I always thought. I don't know if that's true or not. Bill, where are you? My favorite version of Matt Tracker for sure, and Bruce Sato is one of the greatest besides Matt Tracker in the show. He's in 90% of the episodes. Rhino is always in every episode. And it's always great when you can get a vehicle that comes with two figures. And again, this was the only way to get this version of Matt Tracker. I love it. I love the missile that launches. I love all the battle features. The smokestacks come down, machine guns, lasers, whatever they are. You have a battering ram on the front. And as far as 80s toys go, like you said, Neil, this thing towered over Optimus Prime. And I realize there's scale issues, of course, but I don't know anything about trucks, so forgive me. The fact that Prime was a snub nose and this kind of had a big beak sticking out just made Rhino so much more badass than Optimus Prime. I'm going to say it. I think Rhino is a better truck than Prime. I really do.
As a truck, yes.
Not as an overall character. Prime is the best character of the 80s. Everyone knows that. But I mean, as far as the vehicle goes, I prefer Rhino, and the colors are very, very similar too. I love the 80s, like the stripe, just the colors, just be very similar to Gator. That style in the 80s is great. Chad, what are your thoughts on this Grail?
I think right? So Rhino, based on the Kenworth Aerodyne truck, and
thank you for throwing that out.
Yeah. So to me, a lot of people, Thunderhawk, but Rhino to me is M.A.S.K. It screams M.A.S.K. Yeah, granted, it's on the logo, but I mean, just look at it. Like, look at that vehicle, everything about it. Like that's the whole reason why I made this sucker. I mean, it's just so good. Like, everything about the playability is awesome. The transformation's like 2 buttons. It has an ejector seat, right? Like, nobody talked about the ejector seat. You can fire that co-pilot right out of the side of that vehicle.
Right.
I love this thing. I love everything about it. And granted, there's a couple of little things, like when you disconnect the recon vehicle from the back, the molded guns on the recon vehicle really have to go underneath the frame, or you can stress some parts. The mirrors on the side are prone to snap on the short, the thin parts of the arms.
Yes,
they're prone to snap. But also with you, that's my favorite version of Matt Tracker. I used to take this version of Matt Tracker and stick him in my Thunderhawk.
Oh,
and I took one of the modern Matt Trackers and repainted him like this version because I like this version better. I love it. I love everything about Rhino. It's so good.
And there's something that, a live stream like this can't do justice with still photos, that vehicles like this, like Thunderhawk and Rhino specifically, those two, the interior detail to these cockpits and driver seats are insane. There's seat belts. The steering wheels move. There's you could see a little console. You can't see it in these photos here, but it's incredible the detail that went into all these vehicles. Another reason why they were so expensive, because the engineering was insane. These weren't little Tonka trucks that you're just throwing around. These were actual detailed, fragile vehicles, and you can just tell by the craftsmanship. There was just such love at Kenner for these things. And yes, they were competing for the Transformers market, of course.
And even the back, like when you pull the back open, the command center, and you drop the ramp and flip the lid up, like the whole thing passes through. It opens up the interior of the vehicle so much more. It's not compartmentalized. Like it's a giant open space in there.
I mean, let's like you said, Chad, let's look at the logo. Mobile Armored Strike Command is what M.A.S.K stands for, and the very logo has Rhino as the flagship vehicle, because it literally is a mobile base. That's what it is. I mean, this is arguably, I would say the top three would be Switchblade, Thunderhawk, and this, if you're talking about the three most iconic M.A.S.K vehicles. What do you guys think? Top three?
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh, you would put Condor? What would you switch out for Condor?
No, I'd say top four. Sorry, I was just meant
top four. Yeah,
those are the four most iconic. Just because the Condor, I mean, everybody
and that's tough, man. Because I want to like Condor is like I prefer Condor to Switchblade myself, but I think overall, like if you had to squeeze three out of me, it would be those three. If you could only have three M.A.S.K vehicles, it would be Thunderhawk, Rhino, and Switchblade for sure.
Yeah, there's more to those vehicles than the smaller ones, so yeah,
absolutely. And again, I can't say enough how in the 80s there was the comic book would go alongside the toy that would go alongside the cartoon. There was usually those three things would go hand in hand to just make the experience for us kids incredible and really bring these toys to life. And the M.A.S.K TV show certainly did that for me. I know it changed the way we played, because we would do the whole, Matt Tracker would be at the computer and choose the M.A.S.K agents best suited for this mission. And we would pick and we would do the computer voice. It was so awesome, man. Where do you guys see, well, Chad, sorry, what's your score? Mine's an A, of course. Chad, you're
A.
Of course.
A, 100%.
So before we continue on here, let's just go through some of the perfect. So Boulder Hill, perfect across the board. Rhino, perfect across the board. And a perfect failure across the board was Volcano. And then, of course, the other perfect was Brad Turner and Condor. Before we continue on, let's go through the chat here. Rhino was excellent. The smaller interior base was nice too. Bruce was cool. Bruce is a fantastic character, and he always had he was always the wise. He would kind of, Matt would sometimes get a little hot-headed, and Bruce would kind of bring him down, just say, no, we've got to focus and do it this way. Jeff, I got this for Christmas in 1986, the best present ever. I agree. I love the buggy, the Goodyear tires, the great detail, easy, and A++. Vickman says Rhino was the Optimus Prime, the Sky Striker. Well, you get the idea. I love it. Good analogy. The Sky Striker would be in the top three Joe vehicles as far as perfect Joe vehicles go, too, I would say. This looks friggin' amazing, dude. I'm so envious of you, Trent, that you get to experience M.A.S.K for the first time here and then watch the show. Dude, I really hope you enjoy it. Let me know for sure what you think about it. Rob, good old Destro, says this is a grail for me. I never had Rhino. I want this guy, but it's going to be a pretty penny, and to find one in great condition one day. Advice to you, Rob, for this guy, like Boulder Hill, save up those pennies, man. Get it complete. Get it 100% complete. This is not one at this stage in the game that is fun to piece together, at least for me. Some stuff like the flag I think is fun to piece together. This one is not, because Rhino without the bottom half or the back half looks not great. Yeah. Without the ramp, or if you're missing some of the doors and the mirrors, you just want to get this guy complete, man. That's my advice to you. Had Jackhammer sold it, now I want to cry. Maybe Jackhammer will make an appearance on the next Mask episode. I haven't forgotten about Cliff Dagger, the dumbass that he is. We did the sounds, the computer voice, even the music. Stuart says, a massive thank you for the content you make. I'm really enjoying and learning a lot. Oh, Stuart, thanks, dude. It's very kind of you to say. We're here every weekend. Chad and I love having Neil as a guest anytime he wants as well. Okay, so let's continue. The future of M.A.S.K. So Rhino was my last one there. Where do we go if we are now Hasbro that still owns the IP, as we've seen? They keep sticking Matt Tracker into their photos and stuff like that just to let us know that M.A.S.K. is still a thing, but they haven't made anything yet. Neil, if you were going to continue as Hasbro and bring M.A.S.K. into 2022, what route would you go?
That's a really good question, Jay. You gotta think of G.I. Joe Transformers kind of right away and see what they've done and what has been successful for them, and maybe some things that weren't so successful for them. I would say that, I mean, the debate would go on whether or not, you know, if you want M.A.S.K. back again, do you want the same toys again, as in like a reissue? You know how like Transformers and G.I. Joes and Star Wars, and like not so much G.I. Joe, but there are those O-ring figures that they're putting out now. So like, do we want to make toys exactly as they were in the 80s, make them look like this at this scale, you know, so that the vehicles could be this size? Or did you want to do what Chad's been doing here amazingly, which is to make these like 3 3/4 inch scale figures and vehicles and make them that way? I think that actually might be the better way to go, because the smaller figures, the smaller toys, you know, that's more of a nostalgia thing for 80s boys like us, you know, to cherish. But I think for a new generation of people, if we're going to introduce M.A.S.K. as a different concept to like the Transformers GoBots thing, where they're not robots, but they're transforming, they change, you know, and then that's super awesome. I think if they were to do that, yeah, I would go into a bigger scale, not 6-inch, like, you know, like G.I. Joe and Star Wars has gone. I would say 3 3/4 inch, you know, and keep it that way. Give the figures as much articulation as you can, like a G.I. Joe, maybe. Even go with that kind of design, maybe. But that's how I would relaunch it, with, you know, retro packaging. I think is a must too, right? I mean, we're all suckers for retro packaging, you know. So when we see what looks very similar to what the original packaging was, the card art and box arts and things like that from our childhood, if we see that but with a new, like larger scale, I think that's the way I would go.
Interesting. I think I would go. I agree with you, where I'd go the route that Chad has done with his customs, where I would make it G.I. Joe size, 3.75. This is a line. G.I. Joe needs vehicles, but their personalities and everything else is strong enough to kind of go away from that. M.A.S.K, I think there's great characters, but this is a brand that needs vehicles. This is a vehicle-based toy line where the drivers are just an extra. Now we're talking about the toy line, not the cartoon, right? So I think 3.75 gives you a good scale where you can get a more detailed version of Matt Tracker, Miles Mayhem, and all the characters, and then you can have sizable vehicles that aren't too gigantic. I mean, Switchblade wouldn't be like Sky Striker size; it would be a fair size, but I think it would work. If you go 6-inch, which I would like to see, only in the fact that I would like to see a really detailed Matt Tracker up close. I think that would be fantastic, but you're not going to get any vehicles. And the M.A.S.K characters didn't really use guns, right? So you're going to get the M.A.S.K character with their mask, which is great, and kind of that's it. The other thing that I'm struggling with is, what time period would you set it in? I think if you were to do M.A.S.K in present day, all cars nowadays kind of look the same, right? Everyone has that same gray kind of car. Regular people like me have that gray kind of car, you know, the Honda. There's not a lot of, unless you're going exotic sports cars, there's not a lot of different looking vehicles on the road now. I would prefer, honestly, if you were just to set it back in 1985 again. And then, of course, you'd have to have a companion piece, which I think they could do with Netflix. But I definitely think it should be set in the 80s. Chad, if you were to relaunch M.A.S.K, what scale would you do and what time period would you go?
Well, you know the scale I would do, because I'm doing it.
12-inch, baby. Oh,
Yeah, no, it would not be 6-inch. I can't agree with you more that they did Matt Tracker for the 25th anniversary. I wouldn't mind seeing a Matt Tracker in a classified scale. I'm still in the camp that classified GI Joe is a gimmick. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a 6-inch Matt Tracker or a General Mayhem, as they called him in the later modern GI Joe line. But I think that Mask needs to be 4-inch, 3 3/4, 4-inch. I think it needs to be in that scale. There's nothing wrong with a vehicle this size. I mean, this is perfectly to scale for a 4-inch action figure. And it's not that big. It's not big, it's not small, it's bigger than the original, but
Yeah.
it's not gigantic. I mean, the price point
What
wouldn't
would
be
you
too
say, like in
insane.
your hand there? Would that be comparable to the size of the Rattler? Is that about the size of the Rattler, or is it a little bit smaller,
Uh,
bigger? Looks like
it's
it's like Rattler size.
Yeah, I don't want to pull my Rattler off the wall. It's
Okay.
actually about the width of a Conquest. So
Oh yeah.
wingtip to wingtip, it's about as wide as a Conquest. Now, granted, the Conquest wings are forward swept, but it's about the width of a Conquest. It's not the
Right.
length of it. Lengthwise, it's just a little longer than a Dragonfly. It's not
Okay.
very big. It's
Okay.
just because the wings have to sweep down from here, so it has to cover like that whole fuselage of the body.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not that big. I would say 4-inch. I don't care if it's O-ring or modern construction, but 4-inch is the way to go. Transformers, they still heavily rely on their transforming gimmick, and Mask has a very strong transforming gimmick to it. Mask also has that whole secret agent thing that they can really play up. There's
It's
still a lot of good in Mask.
Oh, for sure, for sure, and I think it would work done properly. It's so strange too because I think Hasbro has taken so many wrong turns in the last 5 years, making Star Wars primarily 6-inch. They do have the vintage collection, but let's face it, most people buy the Black Series 6-inch now. GI Joe making them 6-inch, I think, is a mistake, and yet Transformers, I think, for the first time, they've got right with War for Cybertron because everything is to scale except Unicron and Omega, but everything is to scale for the first time. I can't thank them enough for finally doing that, right?
D1 designs too.
Yeah, exactly. You have the Cybertronian version of Prime, then you have the Earth version of Prime. I think it's a fantastic line. I don't know. I'm really scared. I've heard the whispers of, with the Indy 5 movie coming out that they're going to do an Indiana Jones line and that it'll be 6-inch. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys collected the 81 Indy stuff or the 2008 stuff, but there's some great play sets and vehicles. Again, we're not going to see that with a 6-inch Indiana Jones line, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know, man. It's like they seem to just be making like well-articulated, well-designed looking statues for us to put on a shelf. And maybe it's the kid in me, man, but I think there's more to collecting than just the figure. The playsets and vehicles are such a big part of this hobby. And I think
Toys can't just be figures. They can't. Like if they want to manufacture it that way, that's fine. But if you want to get rid of plastic and get rid of plastic, take stuff back down to the 3 3/4, 4-inch. Get rid of all this 6-inch stuff. Like, are we just hanging on Legends? Like, why is everything 6-inch? Like Star Wars went to 6-inch because of Legends. Like everything revolves around Legends, but Legends is kind of going down lately. Let's be honest.
Which I agree, and it's also funny that you say that because I don't know. There's no like what vehicles do they use in superheroes? They don't.
Yeah, Legends works fine for people in spandex.
Right? Yeah,
yeah. I mean, Spider-Man doesn't need it's not like it was in the 70s and the 80s where like Robin has like these wacky vehicles and Superman has a jogger. Like you don't need that stuff. But if you want to keep Legends in 6-inch, that works fine for characters that fly and speed run and stuff. But for your secret agents, for your military lines, like keep it at 4-inch. Give us the vehicles. If you don't want to do play sets and you want to do dioramas, that's fine. But I think the market should decide, not the manufacturer. And there is a market for vehicles and play sets.
Yeah, there's a lot of collectors though that just collect figures, and there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I don't have room for play sets. I need room for my figures." So yeah, there's a lot of exclusive, just straight up figure collectors. And you're right about Marvel Legends and wrestling figures, and then Star Wars, G.I. Joe Classifieds, all the, it's just been a 6-inch kind of revolution over the last, 10 or 15 years. But yeah, I wouldn't want to see that in M.A.S.K. One thing I wanted to say real quick before I forgot was that the mini comic books that Kenner would include with M.A.S.K toys, right? Just like the Superpowers one. They were the same as the Superpowers comics. They were that size, these little tiny pocket comics. I think that would be brilliant to do that if they were to include that in a re-release of the M.A.S.K line.
And if I remember correctly, I think they were a bit more adult. They were like the Masters of the Universe mini comics, where it was a little more graphic. It wasn't as like, I don't know. Maybe I'm
just, that's where they show Miles Mayhem kill Scott's dad.
Oh, they were in the mini comic? Is that where that happened?
Yeah, because he sets their lab on fire when he steals all the M.A.S.K technology for Venom, and he sets that lab on fire and kills Scott's dad.
Trent, thank you very much for the kind words, dude. Really appreciate the support. Let's go up here to Jeff. Jeff's saying, personally, if I were them, I would do a test run, on HasLab. Ooh, yeah, I could see them doing a Matt Tracker and a Thunderhawk one-off. To kind of see, what would happen. It was kind of like a few years ago. I don't remember what the kit is called, but Hasbro brought out this big box with a bunch of different figures, and one of them came with Leoric from Visionaries, and it was a modern version of Leoric. And it was like, oh man, and you try and get that figure now, it's like, forget it.
Yeah, right? That San Diego Comic Con set where it has Jetfire, it has Leoric, it has the other version of Matt Tracker, it has Rom, right?
Yeah.
That's a rad set.
It is, and Leoric looks so good. I'm kind of almost just wondering, it's like there's no secret that we want M.A.S.K. I mean, you brought out a Matt Tracker figure in 2008. That was in 2008. And people went crazy for it. Like, I just don't know really what they're doing, what they're waiting on. They've teased it so many times. They keep showing, we have the IP and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think they should just bite the bullet. It seems like with everything nowadays, they're so afraid to take a chance. I often reflect on the mid-2000s to 2009 Star Wars figure collecting as the golden age. Because literally, if a character walked across the screen for 1 second, he would get a figure. That's so incredible to me. Hasbro used to be so great at doing stuff like that. And now it's like Star Wars, you get, another clone, and then you get another Mando, and it's just boring. It's so boring. There's so many great characters they could make. But I know Hasbro's listening to this right now. Please make M.A.S.K and do it justice. What do you guys think about maybe all the retro re-releases are all the rage. Would you like to see, like a few years ago, Hasbro re-released the real Ghostbuster figures exactly as they were, exactly on the same card? Would you like to see maybe a Thunderhawk or a Switchblade exactly like it was? Like this is a reproduction of the 85?
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, that's one route that you could go, is to just reissue them just like the Ghostbusters, Transformers, etc., that they've been doing, that Hasbro's been doing. But it is also obviously directed just at an adult market. So if they do that, they could, and they'd be just relying on guys in their 40s and older, that remember this stuff from the 80s. Really, that would be their main market. If they want to market these toys and try to make them to appeal to kids, especially kids that love things like Transformers, right, which is fairly similar to M.A.S.K in some ways, then they'd probably do it differently, though. They probably wouldn't make them like exactly the way our toys were back in the day, sort of thing. So I think they would be a new thing. It would be a new 3 3/4-inch line, hopefully, something like that, like what Chad's doing. So I don't know if reissues like that would sell that well of M.A.S.K. I mean, works for Joe and Star Wars and other things maybe, but certainly Transformers. But Ninja Turtles have been successful that way too. They've relaunched them many times. But the original Playmates ones. But I don't know. I just don't see it as being as lucrative for Hasbro to put out the reissues of the 80s toys.
I mean, I don't want that. Like I don't want that. I want new stuff. It's weird, right? It's like I want my cake and want to eat it too. It's just like I want it, but I don't want them to mess it up, you know. So it's like I want them to change it, but not too much. You know, it's kind of like when Classified came out, everyone was kind of like, well, that's Duke, but kind of not Duke, but it is Duke. But I kind
Yeah.
of feel that way about Mask, right? Where it's like I want them to tinker with it a bit, but not to the point where I don't recognize it. And I don't want Matt Tracker to come out with a, you know, I would hate to see like a 2022 Camaro if they even have a such thing, you know. I mean, I think just do it 4-inch, do it in 1985, and then you have the back catalog of all those vehicles, and I think it would be a lot easier for them too. I think that's what they should do.
What if they
Gotta
did
keep
like?
it Go ahead, Neil.
I was just gonna say, what if they did GI Joe meets Mask, for example,
Well,
in that same scale, you know, in that same scale, same way as they've done like Karate Kid meets Ninja Turtles or DC meets Masters of the Universe kind of thing, you know, like that kind of a crossover. If Hasbro owns both properties, why not? You know, that's not a bad idea
Mask-
to the Joe fans too.
Mask is already in the Joe universe. They
Right.
established Mask as Unit E.
Yeah, 25th anniversary Matt Tracker. I remember that, the 3 3/4.
Well, yeah, but even in the comics, so they established it as Unit E, as Unit Echo.
Oh, all right. I didn't even
That's
know that.
cool.
Okay.
I didn't
That's
know
what
that.
I started. That's why I started building all this stuff, because I was like, "Hey, man, Mask is in." What I mean, like, I love Mask, right? We all love Mask here. I mean, this was cool for its time, but let's be honest, like, this kind of got lost in the toy box amongst the Star Wars and the Joe scale and all that stuff. But like, look at that, right? That's a freaking no-brainer.
Oh,
Look at that.
that's beautiful figure.
Right? Like, it's a total no-brainer to just Mask still has legs, it still has longevity. You just can't do this anymore. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
This is almost like Diaclone scale, right? The little Diaclone guys.
It is, yeah. It's the same
Yeah,
scale.
start.
The same scale as Dino Riders, which is a great line as well. But
did you see? I gotta interject. Did you see that CFCB Unlimited is doing 3 3/4 inch scale Mask figures, like these blown up to 3 3/4 scale on cards?
Oh, I did not. No, no. Interesting.
Yeah. Can you share my screen?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it, to be honest with you, but I will figure out how to do that for next time.
But anyway, CFCB Unlimited, they have 3 3/4 scale Mask figures. They look just like the originals, blown up to Joe scale.
Interesting.
Granted, the articulation is not good. You know,
Do they
it's
have
5
painted
POA,
faces?
but
Or they still have no eyes? They do have painted faces, yeah.
they have kind of eyes.
Yeah.
Just basically take Matt Tracker this big and make him that big.
That's I mean, that's okay, but I'm really of the opinion that it's art, right? I think toys are art.
Yeah.
So leave that stuff alone. Just leave it be, and then make something else new. If it crashes and burn and we don't like it, we don't like it. But I think just leave the old stuff alone. Like they did the same thing with the Masters Universe. They made huge, like 12-inch versions. They've done that with the Kenner Star Wars, and they look really silly. They've done it with Superpowers, where they make them gigantic, and it really, General Giant did that. I saw the Joker one, and I love that Joker Superpowers figure, but blown up, it looks not as cool as the little.
It would be like if you took the original 82 Scarlet. A lot of people love that figure. Pretty iconic looking. Like I kind of quasi got in trouble because I said she has a face that looks like a foot. Could you imagine if you like 2 scale blew that up to 12-inch, how ugly that face would look? It'd be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really know how to sculpt hair back then. Like,
no,
I mean,
and that's not their fault.
The short hair too. And we know that Scarlet did not. So
Baroness.
Baroness, they figured it out a year later.
It took them to 84 to figure it out.
Yeah. They should.
But again,
Scarlet.
Just because it looked like this doesn't mean it needs to look like this now. Like, huge difference.
That figure, just show that up again for everybody. That Miles figure is insane, dude. I would buy 50 of those. Like,
right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so good.
And I'm all for this. Right? Just for the woo, I remember this guy, like, factor of it. But if given the choice now, I would not buy this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been our pleasure once again to come to you on this Saturday night. Thank you to everybody in the chat who always shows up and helps us do this, because this is very tough. It's a hard job we have to rank these figures. I'd like to thank our special guest Neil, my co-host Chad, as always. Neil, where can people get at you if they want to talk Joe, Star Wars, Mask, He-Man, anything?
Well, I think it's my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Neil Temple. So, it's Temple, not Turner.
Yeah,
Obviously.
it's not
But,
Turner. That's your code name.
but yeah, so Neil Temple. If you want to go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And mostly it's been a lot of reviews and stuff. But I do a lot of action figure videos, and actually have quite a few coming up. I think I'm going to do like another big ass collection video and show off what I have, and got a lot of stuff to sell too. So. Yeah, so that's where you go. YouTube, the old YouTubes for Neil Temple.
Very cool.
And the master of the customs, Chad, where can people get at you?
You can find me at Articulated Mayhem, also known as Articulated Chad, on Facebook and YouTube. And here with you every Friday and or Saturday.
Every Friday and Saturday. Yeah, we had to put it off. We're usually Friday, but had other things I needed to take care of. So thank you for everyone for coming Saturday instead of Friday. And I'm just Jay Bartlett. I don't have any cool name. Well, I guess today I'm Jay Tracker, but just Jay Bartlett. So check me out on YouTube. I'm loving doing these live streams. We're coming at you tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Jordan and I, we're going to whine and complain about Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 4. So please tune in and give us your thoughts on that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with the greatest song of the 80s and the greatest cartoon intro of all time. Thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you next time.